Everybody, welcome to episode 139 of Tactical Crouch. This is the big one. It's the grand finals preview episode. And on top of all of that, we've got insane roster changes as well. Just a lot going on, a lot to be excited about. Kickedtripod here with Yiska and Volamel. As always, good to see you both. Good chats this morning. We got on the horn a little earlier, and we're just kind of chatting, and it feels good. I like kind of getting that warm-up conversation with you guys versus having to like start cold when we do the show. Makes it a little bit easier to get started. So that's going to, I think, help us here in the long run. Before we do get started, there are a couple of things that I want to talk about on the show, just like kind of housekeeping things. So apologies in advance if you don't care about all this. First and foremost, thanks to Eric. He's going to be helping out with the timestamps. I usually miss timestamps, and it's hard to kind of keep track of when topics are happening. But Eric is going to be helping us out with the timestamps here, so you should have that now for YouTube. We're also going to change a little bit about how our YouTube channel is going to work. We're going to be uploading the entire podcast video as soon as we can after the show is usually up within a couple hours. But throughout the week now, we're actually going to be kind of breaking it up into the smaller segments as well, so that you can capture or you can catch just specific topics as well if you don't have time to catch the whole episode throughout the week. Hopefully it makes it easier for you to tune in, and I know it's going to make it a little bit easier for me to edit through and kind of keep everything compartmentalized and contained. So, yeah, that's going to be happening there on the YouTube channel. And if you're on watching live, or if you are watching or listening over audio, nothing's changing for you at all. We also added the Twitch chat scroller. So if you are a video watcher, you'll now see when usually we'll have Overwatch League peeps or other community people come in and chime in. You can actually kind of see what they're saying in chat. So they can no longer remain anonymous in that. Other than that, I think that's it. Nothing's changed. We're still here Mondays and Wednesdays most of the time. That might change a little bit in the off season, but there's always going to be a lot to talk about. This is going to be a long episode today because we're going to be discussing roster moves, Overwatch League's commissioner change, end of season awards, and then of course the grand finals preview. So a lot to discuss today. So let's just, go ahead and jump right into the news. Big thanks to our patron producers, Refined Bean, Fredinopin, Battlecrab, Coochie Kopi, Lolshin, Rex Zane, Audio Compass, Kasha67, Shara Nathan, Your Misery, Hunter Tane, Fabled Steven, Roger B, Owen, Chris R34444, Horbjorn, and I listen to this podcast whilst on the toilet and in the shower thinking of Yiska, and Peace Camper. Thank you so much for supporting the show. If you like the show, we are primarily supported by our patrons. Go to patreon.com/tacticalcrouch. We've got a great patron-only Discord channel. We've got a Patreon game nights. And, of course, if you really like the show and want to become a patron producer, we shout you out on every episode. So, big thank you to everybody who's a patron, and big special thank you to our patron producers. You can also leave a sub right here at twitch.tv/Kickedtripod. If you want to do that as well, you get free subs if you have Amazon Prime. So might as well, hey? Might as well.
Did the Patreon name order change? Because I see Battle Crab. They were first, right? Then Pin second.
So
and then Lulchin.
Here's what basically I had to reorder it, and every week people let me know how pissed they are because it was a masterpiece before, right? You could just say it and just kind of you just rap-godded your way through it. It was really well written. Yeah. However, when, patron producers, for whatever reason, decide to change their pledge, or we add new patron producers, it gets kind of difficult to keep track of everybody. So this has it set up based on when they signed up to be a patron producer. So it's based on how
Right.
long. So it's first. Whoever was first is there. I think before it was actually alphabetical. And then for when I set it up, and then I added on the patrons at the end, the new ones, and it just kind of like became this ever thing, which is beautiful. But then eventually I realized like a quarter of the people who of names we were saying haven't been like patron producers in a few months, and you know,
that's
like,
free advertisement. You're welcome.
it was free. I mean, you know, like it's not like necessarily a bad thing. Like it's not anybody's fault, but it's just kind of like it became really difficult to keep track of. So, yeah, that's why it changed. That's why it doesn't have the rhythm it used to. Blame yourselves for the order that you signed up to be a patron producer. It's actually your fault.
I think what needs to happen is like that the patron producers that have had to like change their pledge need to get a patron in order to get their initial position back. Therefore, recreating the Mona Lisa that we had initially.
Sure.
Joe's quiet on this one. Joe's staying out of this one.
I don't know. It's like hard rhythm at this point, and like I feel like I'm having like, you know,
it is
palpitations. Yeah,
it is tough. I bet this is a change. We'll get through it together.
Right.
We'll come out on the other side stronger, united,
right,
excited, and subsided. I don't know. Let's get started, shall we? Let's talk about the things. Kevin Hitt, an Esports Observer, has reported that Pete Vlastelica is stepping down as the Overwatch League commissioner. He will be transitioning to focus on an entrepreneurial ventures role on behalf of Activision Blizzard after the grand finals. Joanna Ferries, the current commissioner of CDL, has been reported to be appointed to a new position of head of leagues and will oversee team and broadcast operations, as well as being the league administrator. There's a lot of stuff here to kind of break down. Number one, do you think that we're going to now have one person doing the job of two commissioners? Like this to me feels very much like a report to kind of like SVP role, and then we'll have somebody who does most of what Pete was doing day to day, probably John Spector, being kind of our functional commissioner. And then Joanna being kind of like the commissioner, you know, kind of thing, like
the commissioner of commissioners,
the kind of like, let's keep
the
these
commissar.
Things. How do we? For me, this sounds like they want to keep these leagues relatively tied in format and communication and PR and those types of things. So they have somebody there who's really just kind of about like, the consistency between the leagues. What is it? Congruity? No, that's not the word. But you know, keeping the leagues kind of consistent there, and so they're adding one person there, but I don't think that this person is going to stay as involved in either league.
I certainly hope not. I think that would be a bit worse than we had before, right? Like I think the COD scene is vastly different to the Overwatch scene, and the Overwatch scene is, we know it, barely understands itself. So I think you need two people for two individual jobs. I'm sure she's great. I'm sure I don't know much of her. I'm sure she's a great fit, hopefully. But yeah, I don't think it's best practice to have somebody try to figure out both scenes at once. It doesn't make much sense. So yeah, hopefully she's kind of heading the projects and delegates individual jobs to their respective kind of project managers. I don't know if that's even the correct jargon, but yeah, I'd like to see like individual commissioners.
I think we'll get that. And this is where like we kind of like in Overwatch League, we kind of have coaches, right? But like, what does a coach do?
But like, what is a coach?
It obviously changes from franchise to franchise in how those fit. I think head of leagues is exactly what it sounds like. Head of leagues, and we'll still have an Overwatch League commissioner and a CDL commissioner.
I think, and to that, I think we kind of already hinted. John already hinted at it. It's like, who else is a better fit? If you need a commissioner, you look at the person who has the forward-facing, community focused, has some sort of line to the community, kind of, is I don't know if respected is the word, but is known.
Mm-hmm.
It's Spectre, right? Still don't know much about him. Couldn't pick him out of a crowd, but at least he is out there doing, talking, posting, communicating.
Right.
Pete really never did that.
Yeah, I feel like, okay, here's my rant. I don't care about titles.
Sure.
And I think people who care about titles, we're not going to become friends. What I care about is what people do, right? Like, does the title come with new powers or like responsibilities? And if not, well, that's just dressing up, right? Like, and as far as I'm concerned, like the function that people generally understand as commissioner is being taken by John Spector, who also most recently has become much more community facing, increasingly so, I think, over the last couple of months. Usually, like when something in the Overwatch League happens, there's a tweet from him giving like additional information. And while it felt a little bit like clumsy in the start, I think they're growing into doing the good stuff there. And like if they want to name I think he's the vice president of Overwatch League, the commissioner as well. Good. Like if that makes people happy. Like I think functionally people already, like so many people said, oh, I thought he was the commissioner, whatnot, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And like what generally the commissioner does in a sports league has never been done by the person holding the title. Like Denzel also didn't do that. So I don't think it matters. Like what matters is that we got a guy that does the tasks that someone like that in that position needs to do, and as long as that's fulfilled, we're good.
So, and he got Nanzer's endorsement. Nanzer took like for his once a month tweet, decided to talk about. He said, "I pretty close to verbatim. No one, and I mean no one, has worked harder on Overwatch League than John Spector."
Did you catch the massive amounts of subtweeting from all the talent that left?
Ooh, like even people where you wouldn't expect it from.
Doa, like when you know when Doa says something, it's like
that's like
if you angered one of the nicest people in the world.
No, I didn't see these subtweets. So tell me, so they're about Spector or about Pete?
This was right after Pete was announced or reported to be leaving or being replaced.
Yeah.
And I think Monty came out and was like, what a nice day it is to be in esports. I hear great things from the grapevine, and then there was like, I don't remember what he said, but he had one that was like very pointed, and it's like, it's too coincidental to be like right after something like this happens. And no,
it was a quote tweet. It was literally a quote tweet. I'm pretty sure of the action. Yeah.
Maybe it was. Yeah. I mean, yeah. They were very. There was a glowing review that he was leaving, and it was surprising to say the least.
It's surprising, actually.
A glowing review of Pete?
No, a glowing review of him leaving.
Oh, okay.
They were happy that he was
tell
gone.
when you're being like sarcastic and artsy with your words.
I found it, guys. Okay, so Variety announces Pete access post as Overwatch League commissioner. Doa tweets, "See ya." Second tweet. So the question is, do we get qualified individual with an esports background and knowledge of what it takes to move the industry forward, or Joe Sportsball executive number 3762? I don't think there's like, that's not pulling any punches here.
No. When you hit him with a quote tweet and Joe Sportsball, gloves are off. And that's from Doa. It's crazy.
And he
You know
actually
you-
goes
you know
on.
you
He's
screwed
got
up.
multiple responses. I finally found it, and he's got multiple responses throughout all of this. So, what should the scene be looking for in a new commissioner? Let's explore that. And he kind of goes into he wants Vince McMahon type personality that delivers news and league decisions, all that kind of stuff. So he's got kind of a long thing there. But ultimately, yeah, I don't think there was a lot of the talent that left.
Yeah.
Based off of creative differences and just didn't have their contracts renewed. Monty being one, I think Doa being the other. Two big ones. Really cited the endemics and the creative difference between the endemic esports people and the non-endemic esports people. And sounds like this is a chance for us to get something endemic, and that feels I think good and sadly I don't have anything bad. Like I don't have anything. The worst thing I have to say about Pete as a commissioner is I have nothing to say about Pete as commissioner.
Yep. And I think that's probably and again, like I'm not a meat sports guy, nor am I Joe Sportsball number 36,725, right? I couldn't tell you what a commissioner's job is supposed to do, but these people just felt like titles. Nate, even though we hear about what he did behind the scenes, like to a public viewer, to a consumer, I don't know you. What are you here for? You say you're the commissioner, which is, holds power in the title, but like, what do you actually do? Nobody knows. Nobody really sees you. You come out once in a while, you bring out the trophy, you bring the checks, and I couldn't tell you what you do.
Yeah.
So having somebody to come out and be a little bit more, forward facing, speak to the community on topics and issues that they might have or want to address feels like a good thing. And it feels like Spectre's the best fit for it. So why haven't we been doing that before? I don't know.
In gaming and esports, it's just not acceptable to not have somebody at the top who becomes the face of that game or that franchise or that esports league. It's just it's not something that I don't want to say it can't be done. I would just say you put yourself at a disadvantage when you don't have that. Obviously, Overwatch has Jeff Kaplan, and I think in a lot of ways it feels like Jeff really holds the community together at this point. And I think Blizzard knows that as the vice president of Blizzard.
Right.
I think that Overwatch League wants that and needs that as well. And honestly, there's a lot of times where it felt like Monty was almost kind of like pseudo commissioner in some ways when he was communicating, because we got more league information and communication from Monty a lot of times than even when Nanzer was involved. Nanzer, I think, kind of had this endearment though from the people involved that, still put him in a highly respected spot. But I think we all would agree that we wanted more from Nanzer.
It's from everything that we hear from, especially the talent that left, Nanzer felt much more business focused and kind of like was the person in the room that would immediately shut up when like was out of his kind of school of thought, at least from the bits that I've heard. This is very drastically different with the reaction to Pete leaving, right? So I wonder if like how much pushback, how much did somebody really have to do to be called Joe Sportsball, right? Like that seems pointed is an understatement. Like this is pretty damning. So it feels like we can only really go up from here. I'd love for Spectre to come in and be like, all right, guys, here's the rule book. Here's what we're doing. Bada bing. Here's the 2021 plans. We're hitting the ground running. I'd love nothing more than that. I think that'd be such a good move.
The thing is, like, the thing that frustrates me about this discussion is like, we have very little like first-hand experience with Pete at all. Like, for instance, he showed up on some esports panel recently. Like, watched that. Wasn't impressed.
Sure.
Like other than that, yeah, I don't know. Like anyway, I don't care who you are that's going to drive this league forward. Just do it, dude.
Just do it. Yeah, somebody has to. Somebody has to do something different. And
they're kind of doing it
something
as well. I think like the direction like that we're taking, like it's okay. Let's call a spade here, right? We are going to be a much worse experience than the top esports are for a while.
Yeah, we need some work to be done.
If I look at our animated stage and then I watch at Worlds, I get a little disappointed, but also get a little like second wind saying, yo, this is improvement, dude. Yeah. Like this is actually like the concept behind it is kind of dope. Like that they're like even the idea of like, you know, like basically like we even talked about it. Okay, this is where I'm getting a little tinfoil hats, like where it's like maybe the ideas on this podcast haven't missed anyone. But anyway, like where they implement because Twitch chat doesn't work on YouTube.
How many times are you going to restart this thought?
Okay.
Jesus, just say the thing.
Okay. Because Twitch chat doesn't work as a hype aggregator because we don't have hype. We don't have the emotes. YouTube doesn't do the same. Nope. What we need to do is find something else that transports hype of an online viewership towards the screen. Now, I'm not saying the implementation of these dudes, like, you know, like the things that they're going to implement during the grand finals, where it's like people can like click on something and it will like emit a cheer to the stream. That's something that's coming. They've like field tested it throughout the playoffs with like little emotes coming up with like boo and like that type of stuff. But like if that at all like works out and we get some like crowd reception, like basically you know that in Twitch on Twitch, if POC champs are being spammed, a good play happened.
Sure.
The same indicator can be done through that, if that at all catches on. I'm not sure how the implementation is. But the underlying premise is sweet, dude. Like, that's like the idea of implementing that. And also thinking, dudes, we gotta think laterally. We are in a lockdown state.
Yeah.
Everything that happens in the physical world is not guaranteed in 2021.
And to be fair, anything we think of now isn't just going to go away. Right. Like most of the viewership, I shouldn't speak with any kind of confidence on this, but like a good portion of like esports is all online.
Right.
Whether it's viewing, like that technology or whatever that is developed doesn't just go away just because COVID goes away. So like it seems like a safe investment. Yeah.
I mean, like I feel like this is like I'm really getting giddy like at these ideas like being sort of implemented and tried with. Like if it doesn't work, whatever, like next version or whatever.
Yeah,
or
this
like
is the stuff that you should be trying with, not format of your game.
Right.
Try with this stuff. If it doesn't work, okay, try 2.0, try 3.0. Okay, well, patch it, figure it out. This is the stuff you can go hog wild with. It's probably going to be in mute land for me anyway, so I really don't have much of an opinion. But
I mean, mute land,
but
like this, where I see this going. Okay, so I see the virtual arena, and I go, this would be hella dope in VR.
Yeah.
Right.
Not even VR. Just put me in game.
Right. Right.
Just put me in game. Put me in your Dolby Atmos for round sound too. So I've got everything. I can do that kind of stuff. Which, by the way, AirPods Pro have spatial sound now, and when you like watch with your phone with the spatial sound on, like the room changes based on how your head is tilted, and I'm like, I want that in the game as well. But like, imagine if they could put you in that arena.
Yeah.
Or imagine if you could even walk around the arena on your own.
I'm walking around like esports broadcasting companies begging them to give me a lobby I can invite people to so we can all watch synchronized esports together. How hard can it be? How do I have to do 2 times checks? For those that don't know, like the YouTube player, you can increase the play speed to 2 times, therefore syncing it up through all listeners of the channel if you do it at the same time. And then it starts buffering, and you need to basically after every map resync. Otherwise, you always have like someone like with dope internet somewhere in San Francisco just like going yes, and you're like, they're currently in spawn, dude. Like, what are you screaming at? Like, this is not fun.
45
right?
seconds ahead of everybody.
Give me something like that. Give me a virtual room to watch Overwatch in. That's already ahead of everyone else. That's why basically like this technology with like the co-streaming or companion streaming or whatever way you want to call it is so dope because like ingenuity from the community has contributed to us being able to watch a synced experience and sort of like experience it through that scope. Like do something like this, like I don't know, experiment, dude, expand the minds. Like this is the first metaversial approach I've seen from Blizzard at large in a long time, other than maybe the I don't know Warcraft movie coming or whatever. But like yeah, like that's what I want. Like this is it looks like ass, dude. Like
the arena you think looks like ass?
What is it?
I don't know. It looks like I feel like that render
like ass.
Like the render is really I don't know, dude. And I don't care, right? Like that's not a problem, but like
it doesn't look that bad. It's a little
if an
cheesy.
XQC dude that hangs out in his stream channel can 3D model like a video that looks better than this, like then right?
It's not great.
This is live though. You realize that these are live broadcast stuff. The XQC stuff wasn't that. Like these are things that have to be.
What do you mean by live broadcast stuff?
Like the player cams are going to be put on those things,
right?
And the casters are going to be put in there,
right? Right. Do you think they need to have it movable in like a 3 dynamic space, or can they like pre-render the entire arena to the same quality and just put the video screens over it?
As far as I understand it, and I'm not a production like guru on this level. Like I can OBS for days, but this isn't OBS, right? This is like what you're doing is you're creating these sources and actually physically mapping them in a 3D environment and then operating a camera. So there is a limitation,
right?
I mean, like what is actually like it's the same thing. Like I mean, we have these 3D things for football all the time, right? And or soccer or whatever. Like I don't. You guys have and they don't look that great, do they?
Yeah,
they look about this quality of level because there's a limit. It's not because like, oh, we couldn't afford somebody to texturize this. It's we don't have a game. Like you need people to have a gaming engine to be able to actually render these out and do that in real time, and it can't be done. Not the people, the actual like.
Right.
We aren't at a point where the technology can render out much higher quality than that in real time. As I understand it.
It is the higher upside play in the long run. I just think like maybe for the short term, like something pre-rendered, like the ride stages are pre-rendered behind the curtain type of thing, much like the Overwatch League Season 1, Season 2 studio was, right? So like, do you need to really move like people in a 3D environment for I mean, you can try, you can build on the concept, of course. Like once again, like it feels like I'm getting backhanded compliments. I dig this, but let's not like I feel like we can be fair and say like this is
fine. It feels like the bare minimum to kind of make it a spectacle that like
without looking comical. And I don't think it looks comical. That's the good thing.
Fine. I wonder what this is actually going to look like on broadcast. The LCS did something very similar, and I was not thrilled.
So I do like. I think the first thing that I want to say is number one, f you both. I think this is great. I think they've done a great job with it. I don't love all the like. A lot of people are getting tripped up by the blues, which again, those are going to be replaced by players, and that's just like the background card for the players. Right. So like, relax a little bit. Like I think it's really good, and I think that the limitations here are not in design or execution, it's in technology, and I think that we need to recognize that. However, before Joe goes off here, there's a part of me that just like, you know what, just put us in the Apex arena, dude, and do the live thing. Just do that. Do what they do for Apex.
Do a bubble.
Have the do the bubble. We don't even need fans. I'd like fans in a safe way, or not like whatever, and not safe, not a not safe way, but like I would ideally, I would love fans there. Bubble them too. I don't care. But the
you know how much money you have to pay.
Yeah, I don't care.
Here's my $2,000 ticket. I want to be
work from
bubbled.
home. Give me an internet connection. You can bubble me. Give me an internet connection and cook me food. I don't know. Like, this is you've got to do something to make this a spectacle. You couldn't have done what you've been doing for the past 7 months. I don't know what else much more I could ask for.
No,
you know what?
Yeah, like it's high criticism. Like because as I led with the argument, like we see what is possible in esports that are magnitude to 20 times bigger than ours.
Sure.
And like coming from the conception of the Overwatch League, you would have liked to be there by year 3. I feel.
So my problem with all of this, and I hope you've had enough time to be able to fix this. Where are the webcams? People want to see their players.
They're going to be. The webcams are going to be here.
We haven't been saying that, but they should have already been here, and they still can't get it right.
They're going to be here. That's what these 6 things are for, right here.
We have scenes.
They're there.
I agree.
Right
We've
here.
had these same scenes all season. I agree. We've had these similar scenes all season. No player cams. I'm going to say
not
70% of the time. No, not in game. Right? 100%. Right. I think this is like one of the big problems that has plagued the Overwatch League. And again, hands up with the logistics. I get it. COVID, 100%. But we've had time. You've had a near 4-week break. The people want to see their players. The people want to cheer for the people, they want to see. Mm-hmm. So we have this stage. We have this pre-rendered whatever graphic. I get it. Please.
Dude.
They want to see Carpe. They want to see Fleta. They want to see their players. Please, at the very least, I don't even care if it moves. I don't care if the stage moves. I don't care if there's fireworks. Just show the players. Please.
Oh, that would be so great. So what Joe is talking about is like Carpe says winnable in his microphone. And then as he makes it winnable, either you show the face of his opponents being crushed and just going, or you see Carpe show absolutely no emotion while he kills the dreams of his fellow opponents. Right? Like, just like the facial expression. Imagine, think that was also part of the Gnomes episode.
Yeah.
Just think of how much we got from that through the Apex experience. Like, if that's part of the broadcast, that's one of the biggest parts.
I think that's even going above and beyond. I'm not even asking for that. I'm just asking for when we're going into a match, the people want to see their players. They use the stage that you've kind of designed and built. Make sure we have the players' cameras overlooking where they would be sitting. Show off the players. People are here for them. I hope.
That's literally what they're not going to just have 12 blank blue squares there.
No, but they'll have just a PNG of the players.
I'm not sure if you're not aware, but yeah, I mean, the blank PNGs, especially in later parts of the season, were more like the minority, I feel. I feel the majority of players had active player cams where you could see them in between rounds.
That's the bare minimum I'm asking for. As long as you can see the players per in between rounds. And again, I get what you're saying. It's all set up. All season it's all set up, and they still haven't done it. So I'm
not sure if you okay, what I don't understand is either I don't know what you mean, or you don't know that they're actually already doing that.
No, they have it. Yes, I understand that they're doing that. Not everybody's doing it. Or they just turn them off halfway through.
Right.
We can't have this. They want to see you. At the very least, keep it on.
There's limit as I understand it, there's limitations on when and how these players have or haven't been included. As I understand it, part of it was players can actually choose if they want to have their cams on or cams off.
I
understand why
yeah.
you hate that. I suspect that that's not even a consideration for grand finals.
Yeah.
Let's just assume it's not for right now. Number one. Number two, technological limitations of doing all this stuff from home kind of changes a little bit with bandwidth and speed, because that webcam is actually taking up more of your bandwidth than all of your game and everything else and all your audio is. Right. So all that stuff is now presumably resolved with Overwatch League Grand Finals. Shut and close. We'll revisit it afterwards, and then you can cry and grr all you want.
It's not like a complaint.
I'll give you
I'm
the
just
platform.
like, why aren't we finding a solution for this?
They did. Presumably they did.
Hopefully. That's, again, this is a hope. I'm not saying like you haven't done it. Why should I believe you're going to do it now? I'm hoping you've had enough time. I understand the logistics.
Design a virtual stage for cams before.
Sure. I mean, again, I hope that we can get this solved. I think, and I've talked about this, if you kind of come into the live shows every once in a while, I start asking people like, hey, like, why are you watching? I haven't got a ton of positive feedback on this. So maybe if you so choose to leave a comment down below in the YouTube or the audio or the 5-star iTunes, whatever your preferred comment section of choice is. But how much have you lost this season not being able to see your favorite player like interact with the game or see some of the emotion from the players because it's just a PNG file? And we don't have that, I don't think they hear you. I don't think the Overwatch League hears you if that's something you care about.
I think that's a great question, and I do want to talk about that at some point.
It's too big.
Let's celebrate a little bit the season going into grand finals going forward for the show.
Sure.
But I think, we're going to get into, I think, this, and let's see if we end on the right note. Maybe we just end on the right note and we go from there. A lot of stuff is changing. A lot of good things. A lot of good things are changing. This podcast would be nothing if we aren't the ones who are constantly holding the league accountable for stuff. We tend to do that a lot. But we've got, in less than 24 hours, we're going to be watching some epic grand finals matches. We've got this 3D stage set up.
Sweet.
I'm excited. We're going to talk about it more. We've got a new commissioner, one who has done great things in CDL, and then the other one who, has been kind of the face and worked very hard on Overwatch League for the better part of 4 years plus. Can we talk about some of these roster movements?
Oh boy.
Sure. Shoot.
Oh boy.
Let's do. Actually, before we do that, I want to talk about end of season awards.
Right.
Sorry. Not sorry, Eric. This is why it's hard to do timestamps. My bad. End of season awards. We've got them. First of all, Rookie of the Year, won by Alarm.
Sweet.
Big win. We like that. We like that, chat.
My dog liked that clapping, apparently. I don't have any much to add except for congrats on Alarm on what I feel like was a very strong case for, and I don't have any real disagreements or way to be like, but we could nope. Alarm.
That's coming.
I'm there. That's good. Do we want to discuss Alarm at all? Anything?
No.
About
Alarm is fine.
I think yeah.
I know.
No, I agree.
You hit the nail on the head. There's
Anything
not much
you guys
to say.
Want to
Sick.
add? Cool. Well, let's go to the next one then. Coach of the Year, Coach Moon of the Shanghai
Dragons. Well done.
First of all, congratulations.
Yep. Well, much deserved.
Yep. Guys, how did this 22-year-old do it? Build this Oh, they have rich parents, right? Yeah, that's it. Moon's career. So, okay.
Let it be said, coaches who work for organizations that have more money and are willing to invest more than others don't deserve to be Coach of the Year. That's what that's what Yiska is saying here. Is if you have a lot of money, you can't be a good Coach of the Year because you can buy good players.
I'm saying rich people don't deserve rights, but
Jesus. I'm looking at Kate's restricted stock units for who she works for right now, and I go, crap, we're going to lose our rights one day because golden handcuffs, man.
So, okay. I think Moon was definitely one of the best coaches this season. It's undeniable that a coach that like leads a team to such a dominant performance cannot be an atrocious one, right? That said, this smells like every BS American Sports League Coach of the Year award, where you just vote best team, best coach. And I really wonder what the measurement stick are that people use. Okay, so let's think of what coaches should be doing. I quite like my my measurement stick of resources given to value created, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we look at resources given to value created, then it's either cookie, packing, or rush that stand out as like the top performance. Okay? Even if you don't believe that is a good measurement, then if you go, who actually wins a lot with their team, you look at Krusty and you look at Moon, who have probably almost identical records in terms of like tournament titles this season. Yeah, okay, one of them didn't get first in this league, whatever, right? Like minor did. Give that to Moon, whatever. The difference is that Moon didn't have to give up an Overwatch MVP mid-season and didn't have to downsize his roster considerably.
Nope.
Lowering their expenses at the same time. And the dominance continues throughout the hardships. Now, I think that is quite a bit more impressive than
I agree.
than what's happening there. Now, let's also look at what do you mean by coach of the year, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we have really good insight into what each coach contributes, right? We're focusing a lot on the personality of Moon. Realistically, what we're all only able to judge is how good is Shanghai Dragons coaching staff.
Yeah, I don't think most people are concerned about the personality of Moon so much as they like correlate good team to good coach, which isn't wrong, but I think there are better candidates to your point.
There's also a good question in chat, which is, did Paris not have high resources given to their team? Yes, with the added caveat that they also had to absolutely keep a couple of the players around because they were on 2+1s. They couldn't have made the moves, the radical moves that everyone was making. And those players were most definitely not the top ranking players that remained on the Shanghai Dragons from season 2 to season 3. That's where, like, arguably Rush has coached them towards. And when I say Rush, once again, I mean the entire coaching staff, right? So, like, we also have to consider limitations. So optionalities in these respective parts. Like, to me, I think to a degree, like, the freedom that you have determines, like, the responsibility you can should be taking on, and the resources that you are given in a major way determines your competitive success.
Yeah, I think so.
The fact that Packing outperformed the Gladiators is crazy.
Yeah.
And, like, maybe you'd say, okay, that's part Packing, part Gladiators underperforming, probably something true there. But, like, I don't know if people realize what the magnitude or what the multipliers are in terms of, like, what the resources for these teams. Like, one guy coaches 2 esports, regularly gets to sell off like top level talent, has to rebuild, like takes basically no buyout personnel, raises them up to a level like that can mess with some of the top teams sometimes in some metas, which is crazy already. While we all thought they were going to be one of the worst teams this year going into it. Now, of course, we have to temper a little bit. KSP wasn't announced when we all voted, yada, yada. Nobody of you got them over 15 other than Custa anyway. So like, that has to be weighed against something. And I feel like we're weighing this is recency bias printed all over it, where it's like, yeah, we kind of knew that, like, they just like were a good team and they just, dude, that like half of those team, nobody believed in these players anymore. Or like, okay, so KSP is a great talent. Why does nobody else have him then? That we're slinging money around like willy-nilly. Like, you got coaching is part of the scouting, the value. Coaching. Yeah, is part of the value that coaching staff creates. So I understand if you don't say packing. I understand, for instance, like if you want to say Rush, also because he got to win a tournament, or if you want to say Cookie because they finished higher and had like maybe a little bit more of a stable performance. I'm with you on that. I just think that is more impressive than like getting 12 of the best players, or getting like 10 players who are all top 5 in their positions to dominate a 7-man region that is very high level, but also like we don't know how high.
To remotely defend Moon for a moment, if we were to put a price tag on this roster and put similar price tags on other teams in the league, at least he spends his money well.
Yeah, but
gives you results, right?
It's like,
that's where
I don't think,
man, this is
nobody has
actually tilting me, because you're discounting Moon because he did his job right and well and just had more resources to do it. Like, that's, you can't take that away from him. This isn't who performed preseason power ranking coach of the year. Yeah. That's not what this is. This is ultimately the coach of the year. He comes in I think he came in around I want to say September of 2019. Sure. Signs Fleta, Lip, Void, Stand, Legion, and Fearless.
Right.
Like, if coaches don't get,
that's like three times the payroll of.
I know, I understand.
Valued right there, but okay. Yeah.
But at this
he
point,
got
he's
you
making
results.
the case for it.
Yes.
And he got you the results for it.
Yep.
He brought the talent. Like, he
attracted the talent. That's fair.
He attracted it. There has to be at some point where, when we are really harsh on coaches for the failures, for underperforming, for not signing the right players, for not keeping the team together, for not, you have to then give that to the coach who did do those things.
Yes.
Moon did all those things. He didn't do these things wrong or wrong enough to disqualify him from this. I think that it is like, I think that you've got, arguments for, sure, Krusty. I think he had to face a lot of adversity in doing that. And I think especially if they walk away being the Overwatch League Season 1 champions, I think that, or Season 3 champions, I think that you walk away scratching your head a little bit about, like, should that have been Krusty? Right now, Shanghai, I think, are the favorites. I think most people are in the camp of agreeing that, except for crazy Joe Schmo footballs. Just kidding.
Joe Sports Ball over here. Hello.
Yeah, except for crazy Joe over here. And I think that, like, I think everything you're saying, Yiska, is right and valuable, and we should make an award for a coach who embodies what you're talking about. But I don't think that that's what Coach of the Year is.
I understand that that's your definition, and it's like, I totally respect that. Like, that's sort of like the second category. I then, like, because the accolades to me that Krusty and Moon had feel very similar, that's where I am then confused that you don't give it to Krusty. Probably, like, this is to me, it feels like being being like the defending champion works against him here, where people are like,
I
They're
agree.
fatigued.
we don't want to give him another award.
I agree. And I'm not saying that. Honestly, Moon probably isn't my choice. I think Krusty probably is my choice.
Has to be, I think.
I
think if you're looking
to be
at
honest, I haven't given it a lot of thought because that's not
tough.
who I am. But like, talking about, these coaches like Kookie and Packing, who performed really well and did a lot with what they were given, which was kind of middle of the table. You take kind of middle of the table resources and you elevate it to, a top 5, 6 team, 7, whatever you want to, whatever scale you want to use. Really amazing, really incredible. I don't know what that award is. I don't know how we recognize those coaches and talents. Honestly, I want to say part of it is you guys doing more of what you do best and highlighting that in the middle of the season so that it wouldn't be lost on the average viewer or watcher. That's on the Overwatch League, on if they want the Packings and the Cookies to be recognized for these types of awards. Honestly, if Packing got it, I'd be confused as an average viewer.
Sure, yeah.
That'd be confusing to me.
Yep.
Do you think
and
the
that's
viewers would be confused if the paywalls of every team were public?
No. I think that would be
matters.
Probably baked into the broadcast a lot. I think that'd be a gigantic talking point. Like, as disingenuous as it is, I can just see the team 1 and team 2 with price tags attached to them, and then the wins next to them. Like, I don't know. Look at this guy and look at this guy. One team won, one team didn't. What happened here? That you can already start to see those narratives being built, and that starts to seep into the nomenclature and the understanding of the general viewer. And then Coach of the Year becomes much.
Did we get
at least you have another
content?
kind of a say what?
Did we get Overwatch League shoulder content about Coach of the Year candidates? I know that we got one for Moon maybe 2 days ago. I know saying that transforming Shanghai into dragons. But did we get? Did we get? Because part of that is in the storytelling,
right?
As well. I mean, if we had these conversations, if we had this shoulder content, if we had, we took a halftime or we took a break and talked about the different coaches and coaches of the year and why they are maybe deserving and what we are wanting this award to be and defining by, but. The book is pretty straightforward that, it's good teams who perform well and their teams have good things to say about them as a coach.
Yeah, I don't think to kind of YouTube chat and jumping in front of that, I don't think Yiska's saying, and maybe he can correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think he's saying that Moon shouldn't be on the ballot. He's just not who he would pick.
Right.
It's not a complete discredit.
There's one factor that also contributes to my belief, which is I feel like the coaching staff with Shanghai Dragons actually made it harder for themselves by questionable substitutions than it needed to be. A lot of the series that they had to snatch from the jaws of defeat probably wouldn't have had to go there in the first place.
I don't disagree there. It wasn't the most optical, but I think Valiant had a few of those weeks as well where you're like, what the f are they doing? I think we did. Yeah. I mean, we saw that, and we ultimately saw the justifications around it with stuff like where's Rascal this year? Where's Sinatra? And all that kind of stuff. And again, there's justifications and reasons. In the same way, we should assume that there's justifications and reasons on the Shanghai side as well. We just know some of them. Very true. We know some of them. We don't know some of them.
That's very true. Yeah.
I don't think that there's any team that I can think of that's played perfectly to what, having listened specifically, I'll just talk to you, Yiska, on how you would have played them with the information that you had. I don't think that there's a single roster that came even close. I can think of times where, Mayhem has been, you've been there. Obviously, we've had Outlaws on that. Gladiators, I don't know if we've actually talked about Gladiators specifically. Outside of the teams that had no other choice but to play the players what they play, when you have a deep roster and you have substitutions, I think every single one has had some pretty questionable externally as a fan choices on who they actually end up fielding.
Yeah. And it's also like in the resources extend past like coaching salaries and player salaries, but also in the setups that the respective organizations can also provide, like, you know, like everything in the environment. Like it's not a coincidence that a lot of the high spending teams also having top performing rosters, right? Like it's not an as perfect model anymore as it once was, but it is pretty close with notable outliers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I don't know. Like, that's just.
I get it. I also think that we saw Alarm get Rookie of the Year. You gave
Flood
it to an NA.
MVP.
You gave it to NA. So you give this to.
I hope that had nothing to do with it.
I
Please,
bet
God.
you-
Oh my God.
I bet you
God, please.
$1,000.
Oh, I'm so tired.
$1,000 regions absolutely had to do with how they awarded this out.
Dude, like these
$1,000.
participation medals, get away from me, dude.
I don't disagree there.
Oh yeah, there's like,
But if
don't give
let's say
Road
you had
Stars
Moon
an
and Krusty,
the MVP
let's say you had Moon and
or
Krusty
All-Star.
Mhm.
right here, and you're in the league office, and you have everything 50-50. You kind of get down to like the fourth tiebreaker here is like, well, which region has less
See, I'd be much more agreeable with like the voter fatigue of giving it to like the same coach. I don't think it had much to do with the
I'll tell you straight
That
up,
could be two.
if there was
That's a good
there
point.
was a coach of the year debate between Krusty and Moon, and one of us was to host it, that wouldn't go over well for Moon.
No.
Talking about
No.
Overwatch with Krusty.
No.
I can tell you that straight up. Moon is a charismatic character that has high levels of knowledge in Overwatch, probably, but is not like the strategic type that comes in.
Yeah.
Like Krusty is like, he's like the full package.
No. He is the greatest Overwatch coach we will probably ever see.
Yep.
He's the greatest Overwatch League coach currently. Remember, Stage 3 of 2018, the Boston Uprising had a perfect stage with who as the head coach? Krusty.
Yeah.
Goes to Shock,
After
wins a title.
losing one of the
And that's the entire thing, dude.
players, too.
Like we're getting to a point. Today I wrote like a GOAT
Candidate.
like a candidate article, and how many of these people have not been recognized in any way by these awards tilts me off the planet, bro.
No
like
arguments.
we're playing them so badly at this.
No arguments.
And once again, like
shoulder content, recognition.
Yes.
There has to be more story building. There has to be more told about these players and these coaches and these things. And honestly, we should probably be doing more on the show too, to be bringing those stories to light. That's the off season, and during the season, maybe we should be taking a little bit more time to like, you know what? Let's not recap the games for a week, and let's actually talk about Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
I'll also straight up tell you this stuff where it's like, oh yeah, we can only have like 2 candidates per team for like, nah, dude. Nah. We don't share impressions for bad performances. This is not something we want to incentivize. You want an MVP vote on the ballot. You want a Roll Star. You buy the big players, my dudes. That's how it goes. And if Shock has literally their bench on the MVP ballot, you better be spending. That's how you incentivize it. This American commie sports culture also tilts me off the planet. Like,
to be fair, I personally think that's not an NA thing. That's a gaming thing. That's an inclusion thing.
I think that's
a feel good thing. That's almost like a Blizzard thing.
Yeah.
Like when can you find ways to be, or at least appear to be, more inclusive and inoffensive? If you believe that if you choose, because at the end of the day, right, if you have 10 candidates, there are only really, in most pools, only 3 real considerations. So does it really matter who the other 7 go to, especially if they're not doing shoulder content anyway? They're not highlighting those stories. Do you really get a different end result as a justification? I don't personally believe that. I believe you should best tell the story in the case, and like, it's disingenuous to fans to understand who the real great best players and organizations are. I'm not trying to say that at all. But that's a gaming thing. That's a Blizzard thing. Don't you dare try to put that on my country, because right now there's a lot of stuff you can. That ain't it. That ain't it.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
I love how my character can basically be summarized as anarcho-capitalist on the field and social democrat in the sheets. Like, just like, I don't know, like get that stuff out of my sports. Like, sports is a simulation of war. Let's get at it. Like,
Choji is straight up freaking out right now with the heat and passion that we've got going on here. Hey, what's this?
actual horses in the household.
True.
He's struggling with the kitty.
Yeah?
Yeah.
No,
Kitty,
no bueno?
Kitty doesn't... Kitty...
He's licking his lips. Are you sure
No,
he hasn't eaten it?
Kitty is kind of mean to him. She'll just walk around. He'll just walk around and like bop him in the nose and run away.
Really?
Yeah, just like bop, run away. And he's like calm, just laying there. He doesn't even get up, doesn't do anything. Thank you, buddy. So
thank you, buddy.
Thank you, buddy.
Oh, wait, no.
That's how we actually don't like we didn't really train our dog to say no, to like respond to no. He responds to thank you. It's like thank you, and like that's how he gets off, or like that's how he stops doing things like thank you. So might
cute.
not be the best training, but it works really well for us.
That's like how you would respond to a guy standing in front of like a Walmart handing out flyers, just like, do you want a fly? Nah,
Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah, he comes up, thank you. Like he comes, he's breathing in your face or something, like thank you, Choj, and he's like bumbles back. Thanks, buddy. Okay. Heated topic.
Do roll stars.
Dog
quickly?
can't handle it anymore.
You want me to? Okay. Every
Yeah, I
roll
think there's-
star completely justified. Sado's kind of snubbed. Hanbin kind of snubbed, but I understand because there's a lot of tanks.
You're right.
Dude, you know what I'm about to say.
Do I?
How is Sparkle a roll star?
Yeah.
And how is either KSP or
Sure.
Yaki
Sure.
or who else
People
comes to
that
mind?
have been stars all season.
Yeah. How
Not half the
are
season.
those guys not when it's like, haven't we decided to do hero pools and therefore the best players are determined by the flexibility over a vast majority of metas? And now we are nominating a dude that popped off on Genji? Yeah, I mean, he won a final. He was the best Genji probably around, but like...
Sure.
And then only played like 42% of the season for his team?
I mean, you've got recency bias. You've got a sprinkle of actual storytelling to it.
Give me the ballots, by the way. I need those.
Yeah, where are the ballots? Gimme.
Dude.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. I don't think anybody deserves a personal attack, but it's just like, where are we
skin in the game? Like, I'm not attacking anyone, like not specifically, like, but like, just take this seriously because like people. I mean, now money is attached to these awards.
Yes.
If you care about this, but like these guys are doing that 70 hours a week. This is something that's important to like
to jump in front of and defend the voters. Which I am not one of them, at least not this year. Last year I was. There is no criteria. It is left up to individuals to take this seriously, which I believe they do. I do believe that everybody has taken this as seriously as they, take anything else, right? The problem is that it's not given proper guidance. It's just, what's your definition of coach of the year? Well, your definition and my definition are very different. We need a definition to say this is the criteria that you should be voting upon.
Yeah.
This is the criteria for roll stars. This is the criteria here. Who decides that? I don't know. Give it to the commissioner. Make a council. I have no idea. But I think having criteria solves a lot of these problems, especially going into the future. Because I don't think this is changing. I don't think we're out of the ballpark in terms of having another Kareev. And again,
I mean,
this is no shame. This is no
he had at least
discredit to
10
Kareev.
good Dragon Blades, not just 2 sleep dots.
100%. It is an upgrade, but again, I don't understand how we can highlight somebody who played half a season. Was it a good half a season? 100%. When you look at the breadth of things,
dude, I'll give you one more. I think if Sparkle starts the season, he could even be an MVP candidate.
Sure.
But that's not what we're valuing here.
Yep.
Like, I also think like that this guy will continue to be stellar in the next years. That's not the point. Like, you don't value, like you got to look at your season format, look at what actually contributes to the season's objective, which is win regular season and win playoffs, and then say how much has he contributed this year to it.
Yep.
A, he couldn't play half the season.
Yep.
And then B, when he did,
which isn't his fault, to be fair.
Of course,
not his fault. But
but I mean, by the same token, like, okay, then I suppose Alarm was a role star in 2019 because he was definitely one of the best flex supports in the world.
We can't hold it against him. We can't really use it as a vote of confidence for them, right? And chat, by no means am I saying Sparkle winning role star is comparable to Creve. I'm speaking both hyperbolic and in a vacuum.
Right.
We need to detract from this happening again, using Creve as an example. I don't think Sparkle's that. I'm not that upset by it, but it's still a problem. I do take issue with it because this isn't like what Yiska's saying. This isn't just some little, merit badge that you put on your little scout sash and you get to go to the Marine Ball, right? No. This is like affecting livelihoods.
It is. Like, people didn't realize what being a role star means in contract negotiations.
Yep. And it's only going to increase moving forward. We need this to mean something, and we have to figure out what we want this to mean. I don't know who makes that decision, but somebody needs to, I think, so that we really get a pinpoint and we can start to refine what the criteria is. We can really kind of figure this out instead of leaving it up to, assumption and your definition versus my definition. And now we gave it to somebody who played half a season.
Yeah.
I don't know. Again, not super mad at it. Just kind of, we need to build the system out a little bit.
Yeah. And also the rest of the role stars. Like, I feel like it's kind of moaning on a high level because I think we got it mostly right this season. It's just like a couple of picks where it's like, I mean, we maybe have to, like, there needs to be some recognition, or someone needs to do bookkeeping in terms of like what those people actually achieved, because like we know like memories are short, and like having these hallmark achievements is very, like, it is important to a legacy of a player. And once again, like, it kind of hurts when the only personal achievement that a player has who's the front runner of a GOAT candidacy has like a grand finals MVP trophy. And don't give me he didn't deserve it in all the other regards, because that's ridiculously wrong.
I mean, I sympathize with the emotion. I just don't know or couldn't even dream of a solution for that particular case. And I'm assuming that being Prophet, I'd like awards. I'd like a creation of an award similar to a Golden Mouse or an Intel Grand Slam to highlight people for continued excellence. That isn't just tied to award ceremony season. That can be given to people that are repeating some sort of success, whatever we define it to be. It can be whatever we want, but I think that would probably do a good deal of service to these players who, again, continue to perform week on week on week and deserve it, but might not have a good candidacy because they aren't a rookie or for whatever reason, right? Like, I don't know. Like, I think Sparkle deserves an award. I just don't think he deserved this award.
Yeah.
That's the problem. But again, awards we've gone quite long with. Again,
isn't getting to play esports competitively a reward enough?
A reward in and of itself. Yeah. Again, to end on a positive note, again, we're nitpicking here across the board. It's all been good. The awards usually, like, we've had worse. These are good awards. We love and respect that. We like this chat.
How about nobody gets awards, and your award is getting to play video games for a living, you ungrateful little shits.
Something line cook, right, guys?
Yeah.
Get a real job.
Yeah.
All
All right, rosters.
Roster movements.
Let's get spicy.
Man, we've got a lot going on here, don't we?
Yep.
Man. Let's start. I think there's a few, but I think the most recent and also very impactful is going to be the LA Gladiators, parting way with Jaru Bishu, Big Goose, and Shaz. Arguably, so I'm going to say this right now.
Yep.
Is there a more franchise-defining player or group of players than Big Goose and Shaz? I think you have maybe like
probably not
Sabiobi and Pine. I think NYXL type stuff. I think
sure.
they would definitely be there.
Certainly. Yeah. Jonak, yeah.
Jonak, honestly, I think to a lesser extent, like I think as Sabiobi and Pine were both, even though Jonak was a better player, I think like overall impact on like the franchise.
Sure, like
Pine,
the whole thing.
I don't think Jonak was actually as
super. Since season one, always with shock.
Wouldn't put him there. I shouldn't even say this.
Carpe.
I don't want to say this. Should I say it?
Yeah, Carpe.
Early on, I'm not gonna say it. First half of season 1.
Say it. Coward.
First half of season 1. Boston Uprising.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. No,
can't have that. That gets erased.
But so as far as like, there's nobody who has been franchise defining and has not for all 3 seasons.
Yeah.
Sinatra probably would have been close.
Right?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Never mind. Don't say it. Chat gets it.
Big Goose and Shaz definitely were in discussion for being like the best Western like support line. Definitely kind of the face of the Gladiators franchise. And that's what like kind of has me concerned is, okay, I don't know who else you're going to get. I get that these were 2 probably like weak members this season. Not because of their own like shortcomings, because the league has just gotten that competitive. They've kind of been a little dated. It's an important move. It's a big move to what John's saying. Like, these are 2 very recognizable fan favorite faces that are now gone. On top of that, Bishu, God bless him, didn't play at all, still is kind of a fan favorite. And now you don't have either 3. What are we going to do? Where is that going to come in, if at all? I don't know.
I feel like Deepe is trying to moon it up.
I'm going to play
if you catch my drift.
I do. I just I
actually don't know what you're saying.
Just like amass the best players money can buy and go into the next season.
Yeah.
Because they paid top dollar, right? That was an issue. And I will also say, okay, let's quantify this a little bit. I think Shaz and Big Goose, like, most definitely season 1, season 2 were a solid backline. And in season 3, you can talk about them maybe being an issue, but I don't think they're leaving the Gladiators below an Overwatch League level.
Sure, yeah.
Right? Like, we're not going to upgrade past the point where these guys wouldn't have found a slot in Overwatch League, I think. Depending on if they want to get a pay cut, a heavy one.
I think there'd be limitations that would keep them out, but I think there are worlds where they don't have a spot.
Who?
Shaz and Big Goose.
Big Goose retired.
Sure.
Right.
Not that he can't come back.
What we're saying is, like, I don't feel they were necessarily only forced out by their skill level out of Overwatch, Big Goose specifically,
Sure.
by like, right? Like I'm definitely like, I think it's fair to say that the backline was the one like staple, also because they didn't have any alternatives this season.
Right.
That if you want to go pound for pound wasn't something that held them back, right? But because just like in comparison, like OG, Space, Bird Ring, Kevster, those like even Mirror, like these are names that just like are clearly better players in their respective roles than Shaz and Bigus were. So, but still, like they had a cool vibe with them. It's weird. Like somehow we feel very endearing towards that backline. Okay, Bigus did actually a bunch of like content, I think. Like we had the Los Angeles Biggie stuff, we had the Korean content. Shaz like
Been pretty quiet.
doesn't do anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he's just a very private
Keeps
person,
himself.
right? But
I
still feel like there's some connection between the fan base and the backline there.
I think so.
I want to do a video about how Shaz and Big Goose became the franchise faces of the LA Gladiators on a team that should have had franchise faces differently.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Should have and still should have different. Like the only way that happens is some like key marketing steps. And I don't know if it was intentional or not. I don't know if they were assigned to 2+1s and so they had them for 3 and so that they could kind of create this, or it just happened to like sometimes in marketing it's just like you find these things as you go along, you kind of put them in your backpack or your toolkit, and then you just kind of keep pulling out that tool over and over, and eventually it just kind of creates this like snowball of it's kind of on its own now. I want to do a video on it. I just like not confident to do a solo Overwatch League video. But yeah, it's quite the enigma. It's really interesting, and I think that franchises need to kind of look at what LA Gladiators has not just done with Shaz and Big Goose, but with their players, especially in season 1 and season 2, because that's how you build a community, or not a community, a fan base. When you can't necessarily, when the game isn't doing that for you, if that makes sense. So, anyways,
yeah, but I think like. If we're extrapolating from Gladiators like transfer market moves, I think they're going to get some heavy hitters in.
They should.
Yeah,
should. I don't think that you can go from losing a fine support line and kind of the face of your franchise to something worse. I think that's going to be incredibly detrimental. So. Doesn't surprise me. I'm not shocked that Jaru's gone. Not really all that shocked that Bishu's gone, even though I kind of like would like him to be a little bit more, or maybe kept around for content. I don't know if that's something that he's even interested in, but
I mean, he said he's interested in going into coaching or management. And like people don't know, or I guess he tweeted it, but like Bishu has been around and an esports professional for damn near a decade, right? Like
he's been at it for a while.
So that's a fine esports career to look back to. Also,
he's 26 now, eh?
Yeah, like the ability to stick around says something to me about the intangibles of him that
we already kind of know about.
Yeah, that we know about, like, and that can also be applied in these other positions. So. Yeah, I hope
he's got a future ahead of him for sure. If he wants to hang it up for good, he wants to hang up the mouse and keyboard, go for it. I think he has room elsewhere. I'm just surprised that Gladiators hasn't snatched him up. Maybe they pull a Gladiators though. Maybe they let him go to rehire him. Who knows?
He is a franchise player. You could build a franchise around like a face player. I'm not necessarily saying on the field or whatever, but as far as personality, like this is kind of the stuff that you kind of look for. And
Bishu definitely.
And a lot of people look at Bishu, I think, really endearingly. especially those more familiar with the scene. So what about Jaru? That was kind of a shorter one, right? They signed Jaru at the beginning of this season.
That was always kind of questionable in my opinion. That was very again
kind of brought
out there
on,
in scrims.
He's
just
kind
wasn't
of brought on to play the projectile, right?
Yeah, and then didn't.
And then
No, it's
really
Hitt scan
didn't.
somehow.
Yeah,
just
it was Hitt scan, and then what else did they do? I'm looking at the Wikipedia and I see Sideshow's name here under former players. Yeah, I mean I don't know. It's like you got Kevster now. I don't know.
Not shocked that Jars left. Wasn't super bullish on him coming into the season.
No.
So
yeah, no,
we'll see if he lands on his feet.
I remember Deepe talked pretty highly of Jaru though. He that's the player that he leaked on the show. Not straight up leaked, but he teased on the show. So Guangzhou, should we talk about Guangzhou? I'd
love to.
Guangzhou Charge release their Korean coaches, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jin, Taidala, and Sungwoo.
I'm concerned.
Tell me why.
Very concerned. So, without looking, what's your take on the legacy that this coaching staff has left behind? Is it a good one or a bad one? They've played 2 seasons, performed pretty well.
I think solid.
Why would you get rid of them?
Gladiators of the Gladiators of the East?
Sure. What? Why? This to me either signals a shift in goal. So they either want to push for a title, which commendable. I understand that. If you feel like you're limited by the coaching staff and you want to restructure, okay, go for it. Can understand that. Or you're downsizing. You're refocusing elsewhere. Maybe not towards performance, maybe towards marketability, maybe more towards home crowds. Obviously, Chinese team has some Chinese players. Maybe they go full Chinese. I don't know. I don't think the narrative of the Charge will continue as it has the last 2 years in 2021. I think this is going to be Charge 2.0 coming into 2021 with this change. I am concerned
now
in a kind of gray way.
To be fair, it's not just the organization's decision to let go of a coaching core.
Sure.
Coaches may not want to come back.
Very possible. Very possible.
They've been doing this for 2 years. They've built a top 5 team 2 years in a row. There's some teams who are rebuilding Spitfire, who might be looking for a new coaching core.
Sure.
I don't want to put it all on, they're downsizing. I don't think they're shifting away from at least the kind of mixed roster that they have now. I don't think they're shifting away to they're definitely not shifting away completely from Korean. They're not dropping Krongshu, Shara, Rio, and Happy. They're not doing that, right? They're not doing that.
I would imagine they would not. I really don't know. I think this is either a push for a title or they're downsizing. I don't think that they're going to continue. That's the kind of message I'm trying to paint. I don't think the Charge will continue to be just a good team. They're either going to shoot up and be a great team, or they're going to, bite the bullet a little bit, downsize, restructure, try out for 2022.
And I'm not saying that they won't lose some of those players, those Korean players. I just don't think that they build around Eileen, Crystal, in Euro, and they drop their Korean players.
That's what's weird to me. The Crystal signing really makes me wonder why. He's not a bad player. At least he wasn't in the past. It's been a minute. But why Crystal? That's what's weird to me. They've always been a team that wants to do the international thing, which is commendable. I have my opinions on big mix rosters like that. I think they are kind of limited to a degree unless you really try to invest in them. over like across of multiple seasons. I don't know what to feel about Charge. That's the kind of message. I really like. This is a weird one. I've grown to really appreciate this coaching staff, this coaching regime in a way. I think they've done a lot and they don't get a lot of credit for it. 2 repeat successful seasons with, I won't comment on any kind of resources because I really don't know, but I think they have merit to their names. It's just bizarre to see them leave. Very interested to see what Charge looks like next season because I think we're going to see a big shift.
I agree. I think that's about right.
Yeah.
Washington Justice part ways with Wiz, who's a coach for them, formerly of XL2. Sure.
That one's tough. I'm sure he's fine. Hopefully he lands on his feet. But yeah, I'm not as familiar or familiar at all.
And so he came on at between season 2 and season 3. So he was there for the entirety of this season. I don't think that anybody in the organization, except for Pre and Supreme, I think were with the org 1 year ago. I'm double checking that. Well, Tuba barely actually.
Yeah, I think he got signed, but like never really did anything.
Roar, like they signed around there, but the idea is, Arc would be the one that's been there. Otherwise, they all kind of got it started. So it's basically it's an entirely brand new franchise.
New team. Yep.
They've scrapped.
Who, weirdly enough, has a. I mean, to be honest, I don't know if they keep Decay. I don't think they can. I think Homeboy is fetching a pretty penny. I think he's going on the market and he's gonna cash out again. But again, they don't have terrible legs to stand on. So again, a team that's very interesting going into the offseason. What do they do? Yep. What's the plan? They're quick to sign coaches and whatnot, which is a sign, I think, of a good sign. But I'm excited to see what Justice look like. Again, don't want bad teams. So if you're coming at me with some good news, I'm all for it.
Yeah. Okay, another big one, and I think we're gonna get Yiska back here for this one. London Spitfire part ways with Agape, Pavane, and Twinkle, and Kevin Hitt has reported to that they're going to be releasing their entire roster.
Yeah. Again, similar feeling with the Charge. Yeah, I don't think you get rid of a whole coaching staff without going for like big restructure. So on the outset, I look at the report and I go, yeah, I probably could see that. Well, I guess the question then is, where does Agape and Pavane go? The community leading choice, which I don't hate, is that they go to Charge. Charge wants to shoot for a title. They take title, contender coaches. They give them control of the Charge and they push upwards. They inject more money into it. They push up. I'm all for that. I'm excited to see that. I think they could do that with the Charge. It has to be done then, right? Like we have to actually see it before we start to comment on it. Like, and that's where like the roster mania starts to begin. That could happen. We have to wait and see if it does though, because it could very well be the opposite, where maybe they leave for other opportunities. Maybe they go to Valorant. Maybe they, split up and go to other teams. Maybe some of them return to old teams. Like anything can happen. It's crazy. Just how much stuff is going to happen this offseason. It's crazy. It's crazy. So all I feel like I can say with Spitfire is when you see an entire coaching staff removed, that seems like a regime change. Like they're shifting focus. They're moving elsewhere. They're going to do something different this year. It seems like the report echoes this.
Yiska, what is your thoughts? So something in Kevin's report is that they're looking to draw from more talent in Europe and from the Hurricane.
Right.
Do you think that that's a good move?
Yes. So, okay, for several reasons. I think if there is an unexplored region that is most likely to develop the most underappreciated talent, where you can make like high value, low cost market moves, then it is Europe. Like everyone's looking at contenders Korea. Like the Chinese teams are certainly looking at like China. NA is always like saturated with eyes on it based on the previous academy system, whatnot. Like Europe, because of its like excluded structure, is the point, and also was the point for packing, where
like a KSP,
or like I mean theoretically, okay, like, yeah, I know Kevsta and Onigod are not strictly speaking like
I mean they played in an
European yeah, I mean right, yeah, but like moreover, I think the Hurricane roster, just based on the dominance that they had, must have like it's inevitable that someone on this team is nuts, and a solid talent. I have my eye on Hardy. I have my eye on Sparker. Those are like definitive for me. Like these would probably very surely move up. And then the other ones I would trial. I mean, I would trial everyone, but I have the highest confidence that these players would make it into an Overwatch League starting lineup. And then everyone else trials for their position. And I mean, pre-existing. Like it feels like British Hurricane, it's high time that they benefit off of their academy work, other than like pitiful buyouts for people like Funny Astro, you know, like I don't know, like in all actual fact, Funny Astro should have paid for a year for this team, right?
100%.
So yeah, I'm like if that was to be the case, I think that would be sweet. But it's hard. Like I wrote this piece like, can we actually like, where do we get the head coaches from? Right? Like
you bring in
teams?
NKOE as your GM,
right?
And then
unironically, yeah, of course.
I'm not joking. Like that is not a joke. Like I will start the Facebook page right now. Like they should be in Overwatch League. Long overdue.
Right. Right.
But also they understand EU talent, I think, at a level that's just unsurpassed.
Right. Yeah.
Sorry, I interrupted you to plug NKOE.
Like that makes sense. And then I mean, then you just got to scout. Like everyone else running open tryouts now. Everyone's looking for a good bang for their buck. That's what you do, basically. And then, yeah, I think, like, I don't know if you... I don't know what... in my ideal... Okay, here's how I... If this is a rebuild, I don't sell everyone. I keep Glista. I keep Bernard, 100%. I might be keeping Sanguinar.
I like me some Sanguinar.
And I promote the aforementioned players. And I break the bank for a code for... Okay, this is something like pattern recognition. Like...
What about Jabroni Magroni?
What?
Do you keep Jabroni Magroni?
Oh, nah.
Oh, Jabroni Macaroni.
Wait, no, that one. That one. Boom.
Yeah, Jabroni Macaroni's Audi 5K.
Yeah. But like, and then I invest in like a coach. Here's the thing, right? I think the pattern that we've seen is that in hybrid rosters, a Korean head coach is a better fit than a Western head coach. Just like from patterns from,
Mhm.
I don't know why that would be, and maybe it isn't necessarily the case, but that's like where you start, right? Like that's true for Philadelphia. That is true for Shock. That is true for who's the next in line? How many hybrid rosters do we even have here? This league.
Not a ton of good ones.
Yeah.
And by good, I mean good.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean overperforming their resources heavily
Paris,
once
yeah.
again with the Paris, yeah, exactly. So that's 3, right? Like that's a proof of. No, it's not a proof of concept, but it's sort of
there's
like
there's something to it,
right?
whether or not.
Yeah, an established prior that allows you to think in that direction in the future. So that's probably what I want to do. I think Glista really just needs a team built around him, and he's going to DK next season.
Yeah,
I think Burna is a very good
also somebody
as well.
Paid.
Sanguina is solid to build around. What would you need? You would need a flex support, right? I mean, ideally you'd have some Western player in that to sort of keep the balance in, not necessary like, but yeah, and then you got to do it quickly. You got to build like synergy, but you got to build language skills and all of that, right? And we can assume that the off season will be a little bit longer, so you got time. But I would make that call. And I also don't think it would necessarily not vibe with a fan base. And then if you want to engage your local market, that's where you pay packing. That's where you pay for KSP.
You're asking lots of money there. I don't think Valiant's really trying to let go of Schwartz and packing.
They've literally built a system around him. Like that whole organization is set up in Packing Town.
Yep, that is Packing Town, USA.
But real talk, like I think as I understand the Immortals Gaming Club, as long as you got the bag, they will say yes. That's the way they operate.
But who has the bag? That's the question. Who's got the bag?
Yes,
especially in
the
COVID.
Question, indeed.
Who's really tossing bags around?
And the bag can like decrease based on market realities, but we don't know what it's going to be like. So
make sure to bookmark GG Recon this week for Yiska's interview with Packing.
Now, again, speaking a little on ignorance, because I'm not completely up with like a lot of the contract like details and whatnot, but am I incorrect in saying that like majority, if not all, contracts will be ending at the end of this year?
No.
Okay.
So there is like a bunch of players will have their contract extended in some way or renegotiated, right?
Yeah, I felt like they had to be renegotiated with the new the new standardized contracts, correct? Am I wrong in saying that?
I don't think that's no. I think the old rules get grandfathered in, if I'm not mistaken. But like,
fair enough.
There's also 2+1s, of course.
Sure.
Where it's like for instance, I think in the French.
So you're saying there are pre-existing 2+1s.
Yeah. So like someone signed for this season 2+1, meaning they have to be like
for next season.
I think, for instance, someone like Carpe is publicly.
I think it's 3 years.
I don't. Yeah, 3 years is what they said. I don't know what that entails, but yeah, like for instance, you couldn't. Yeah, like Carpe is not going to be a free agent at the end of the season, right?
I see. So to kind of like final thoughts on Spitfire, I see what you're saying with Glister. I see what you're saying with Bernard. Like we're aligned there. Is that where Spitfire is headed though? To me, when you get rid of Agape, Pavane, championship winning coaches, that kind of caliber, if you're getting rid of them, again, I think this is a regime shift. Not necessarily in a bad way, but I think the goal is being shifted.
Dude, can you imagine when it's just like Glista, Bernard, Hardy, Sparker, Sanguina,
not a bad team.
One more plus 9K?
Sure.
Ooh, baby.
Expensive.
Right.
Expensive.
I mean, yeah.
A little expensive.
Some of it is, not everything.
Not everything. Not everything. Just some of it.
Not to derail anything, but chat, just to kind of put this into context for you, this is going to be moving really fast, right? October 12th is where teams begin submitting player trades. The 16th is the deadline for teams to exercise their options. The 23rd is when I forget this one. I forget what the 23rd is. But the 24th, teams can start signing free agents. So we've got like 2 weeks of just like a hodgepodge of who's getting re-signed, who's not, who's getting extended. And then on the 24th, we start being able to sign everybody. And then it gets kind of 23rd is 2020 contract options. Thank you, Eric.
Gotcha.
So a lot going on very quickly. There's going to be a lot of long episodes, I feel like, in the next next like month and a half. They're going to be long ones.
Right.
Expect coaching. Expect coaching departures. Expect retirements. I don't think anybody's going to be announcing any rosters anytime soon. But the beauty in coaches, as we know, we follow the coaches. Who have they coached before? They're very likely to pick those players up.
Oh, here we go.
Mother Goose Theory, baby. We gotta, we follow the breadcrumbs. Teams are leaving you guys little breadcrumbs. This is why roster mania, off season's super fun. You can start to, have your little theories and piece it together, and might be right. So keep your eyes out on the coaches departures, and retirements. Those are the 3 roster moves to be expecting in the next couple weeks.
Twitter follows
are not the best source. Stop. They're on to you.
Last but not least, Boston Uprising. Lori has been named as the head coach, formerly with WGS Phoenix, and Mineral has been is moving into a managerial role.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have any we don't know if that's like player management, organizational management,
hard to say.
Community management. I actually don't know.
I think he's an educated journalist, so it could be theoretically.
Could be PR. Who knows? But best of luck to them. Any thoughts on Lori for the Boston Uprising? A team that did not, a team that does need a lot of help and love. Although they did turn, they kind of pulled a stage for Florida Mayhem, that one. Remember when they bought Saya Player and who else was it? And they kind of had that turnaround, the Florida Mayhem. They kind of had that when they brought on Punk, and
they had a little turn.
I
was excited for a second for Boston, being a little underdoggy, and then they went back down.
We got to
stop that.
Didn't last.
We got to stop that. So again, they have some decent pieces. Whether or not they can keep those pieces, I have no idea. I'm pleasantly surprised with Jerry's performance this season, even statistically. Good player, decent player on a pretty piss poor team. Yunbong, I think you've heard me rant about 50 times throughout the season talking about how this kid's insane. Deserves to get the bag. If Boston wants to really kind of put wins on paper, you have a platform to do that. You just have to build around it. Lori coming in gives them hopefully an opportunity to get some talent from Korea. Maybe we see a full Korean Boston and we see them not be a laughing stock 2021. Fingers crossed. Again, I'm tired of pooping on you. I want good teams. I want fun matches. I want good matches. Your matches aren't good nor fun. So hopefully Lori can bring me some joy. Santa Claus Lori, please. Bring me some gifts.
Yeah.
Move on to uNKOE quickly.
Oh yeah. So I skipped right over that one. uNKOE has retired from Overwatch League and is LFT for Valorant.
Oh. And apparently uNKOE is pretty good at Valorant from what I'm hearing as well. So good on him. And also, okay, I know we are going to be haha, not played, blah, 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 taking Dallas for their money. No, uNKOE's career, for the most part, is one of a really good Overwatch player throughout his career. Yep. Part of Rogue, like a legendary lineup from pre-Overwatch days that won a lot of competitions for a while, were dominant. With uNKOE, for a while, I remember us thinking, okay, it's Ru Jeong, Chip Sion, and uNKOE.
Yep.
Those were the honor gods back then. Then, like, even on Valiant, a very instrumental player
to the
towards them.
second best. That was the second best team in Overwatch League.
Yes,
I think people forget that. At least by regular season standings.
Regular season, yeah.
Yeah, like he definitely deserves his laurels, and also deserves to have, like, not toyed with his name, especially like he appeared to want to tell his story. I'm willing to listen to that before I start judging why this season looked like this.
Yep.
So yeah, like it's sad to see like someone like as talented as uNKOE leaving, but I'm also happy to enjoy him playing Valorant, because once again, from all I'm hearing, he is actually pretty solid Valorant player.
Yep. And it's not like there isn't just 3 French players that need a new team. Just tap uNKOE on the shoulder, make him your fourth.
I didn't even think about that.
You know, Hip's looking for a team. You know, old buddy Hip.
Yeah.
Fearoff looking for a new team. You know, obviously the Overwatch podcast don't want to, you know, but he's. I don't think he's going to be.
I can't believe I didn't put that together. Yeah, of course.
Fallen from grace too far. I think he's going to land quite comfortably on his feet and give EU a nice new team to cheer for. So,
what if Rogue got into Valorant with that roster? Just full circle.
Well, I wouldn't hate it.
Poetic.
Would not hate it. Would not.
Poetry in motion, chat.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We have to go on to the last topic for the day.
Yes, we do need to talk about grand finals.
The grand finals. Here it is. Grand final. Here's to take a look at the bracket here. So we start this tonight, tomorrow morning, depending on where you are. We've got the Seoul Dynasty versus the San Francisco Shock, followed by the Fusion versus Shanghai. Losers go down to the losers bracket. Winners move on. The winner of the winners bracket goes on to the grand finals, and then the loser of that top winners bracket goes to the losers grand finals. Losers grand finals, where they play the 2 losers, and then that person goes on to play the Shanghai Dragons in the grand finals. So it's already written, basically.
Set in stone.
We already know what it is. We don't
get a glimpse at the Tiger King, huh? No Soul making a push.
I'm looking. Maybe from the lower bracket.
Oh, okay. Now you've perked my ears. Now I'm interested.
Let's talk this through a little bit, shall we?
Okay.
Let's start. Yisk in tactical crotch
fashion.
In tactical crouch fashion, let's see if Yiska can guess these betting odds here. We do aggregate our betting odds from oddsportal.net, which is an aggregation of betting odds. So this isn't something that we've come up with, and it is not necessarily likelihood to win. Stop asking me. So the first match is the San Francisco Shock versus the Seoul Dynasty, starting at 4 a.m. How is that good timing, by the way? I can't believe they're doing that.
It's in Korea.
I don't care.
Unlucky.
It's great timing for me. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. You and the other 11 EU Overwatch League fans that we've kept since season 1 of not being able to catch any matches.
Yeah, and we will all mourn the 12 North American fans that don't get to watch.
Hey, there's at least 3 dozen of us.
This guy is pretending as if these, like, even half of the 12 still have jobs. Like, you can stay up.
Jeez. It's true. I'm thinking about it. I'm like, when do I need to sleep? Okay, so anyways, what are the odds here, Yiska?
Get
what do you think the odds are? Give us your guess.
68. I want to say 69% shock, but like then everyone's like nice. But is it 68% shock?
You cheater.
No, I didn't cheat.
Cheater.
I swear I didn't cheat.
There's no way he cheated. I don't
really
trust
Is it the other way around? Are you trolling?
I don't trust
No,
you.
I think you just hit it on the head.
You nailed it. It's 68% shot.
I swear I didn't look.
You,
like I have the other
the integrity.
Okay, keep.
You're like, I've played too much Among Us with you to know that you're lying. Like, you try to make it like, I'm almost gonna make it the wrong answer, but I guess I'll make it the right answer. Like, I know
that would be very badly lied. I would have said 69% actually, but it felt like childish.
No, that's you. That's you in a nutshell.
I will say, like, if I wanted to lie, I would have a better lie than this.
No, you wouldn't. Again, I played Among Us with you. No, you wouldn't. Your lies suck.
Dude, I had to lie at least already 10 times this podcast in order to not reveal what is actually going to happen. Like, I don't know if...
During the quiet parts, is that it?
No, the quiet parts are more like, oh, someone has called me a terrible journalist on the internet again. That's a Tuesday. It's actually Wednesday. God damn it.
That's how you know you're a good one.
Right.
Okay, so yeah. Tell me, what are your odds? Where are you lying on this one? Is there any way Seoul comes out on top here for you?
Yeah, I think it's super wild, the percentages that could be happening. Because I think the 4-week period in which the North American teams didn't have optimal practice conditions, paired with a playoff profit and or London core, as well as a Fitz that looked pretty good, or like finally hit his potential, I feel like it is closer than what is being portrayed here. But I'm not sure if I can go under 60-40 shock.
It's tough, right?
Yeah.
It's really just tough to
not
say shock, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
I don't really have a whole lot. Like, I don't have anything insightful to say about this except, yep, they're going to be in Korea. That might kind of suck. They can kind of take a game or two to get warm, and they are, haven't played a real match with stakes in 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So that's always kind of like a wild card, I guess. But besides that, like, I still don't know. I think we'll know a lot though about if we're gonna have a shock final or not, based on what kind of performance they show right away.
Joe just came back from like the bathroom, just going like, "Hey, girl, I got a hot take." Hey, what is it?
Is it that hot?
What
I just think Shock's gonna win.
How much?
What do you mean? How much? Like odds wise?
Percent, yeah.
The chance that they win?
Yeah.
I mean, if everybody's like 25, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'd say like 32.
Okay.
32ish. I'd say.
Oh, you mean win the entire thing? You mean?
Yeah.
No, we're talking about
just
win
the first
against
game.
Seoul, yeah.
Oh, like 65.
Okay.
Pretty convincingly. Again, I think
I said 60. I said like the converging factors of like sort of like a soft reset, possibly new meta, 4 weeks, not optimal practice environment, possibly better scrim partners at that location, and like the factor of London in the playoff series, London core,
right?
Then it has to converge a little bit more to the average.
Mm-hmm.
And to Seoul's credit, again, like you're saying, like this is not a team that we should be sleeping on. This is a team that can be punchy, has proven to be punchy in the past. Team coming out with a very unique style, at least last we saw. Have they adapted? Have teams adapted to them? Can they find good practice against that style? Hard to say. They're a hard team to read. They're a hard team to read. But just based on everything, it's hard for me not to bet against or to not bet for Shock.
What about the second match, Yiska? Odds: Shanghai Dragons versus Philadelphia Fusion.
Okay, so we had 68 for Shock in the first series.
Yeah.
I think it's probably a little bit less certainty for Shanghai here because it's, like Odds Portal is an American betting thing. So 65.
For Shanghai to win?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Joe, do you know what the odds are?
No.
What do you think the odds are?
Maybe like 55 Shanghai?
So it's 62 Shanghai. 62,
Really?
38
Wow.
Closer.
Shanghai. But you're over.
Wow.
Price is Right rules. So you're disqualified.
That's surprising. That is surprising. I think this is a toss-up. This one's tough. A banger. Certified, one might say. Shanghai did not look convincing to me. When they won their division title, I was not impressed.
The thing is, like, I like, it's like saying, okay, this is going to be really geeky, but like, this is like saying, yeah, like we almost killed the Rogue when we haven't even procced second wind. Sorry, not what's it called? Cheat death.
Cheat death. Yeah.
Cheat death. Like, okay, for that have a life and don't understand the reference. Like, rogues in World of Warcraft have an ability that you need to basically kill them twice, by pushing them to death once, and then they are invulnerable for a second, and then you can kill them, basically. I feel like this is Shanghai in a series. You can absolutely dominate Shanghai the first two maps, but you gotta squeeze them over the and it has been done before this year with charge.
Mm-hmm.
But like generally their ability to come back from like a huge disadvantage is nuts. And until you do that, like Shanghai, like I don't really care that much, also for the aforementioned reasons of just like the coaching staff either trying something out or borderline trolling. Like I don't think, and to be honest, I don't have any recollection how that worked in the Asia finals, but in terms of substitutions, but like I don't think that's necessarily going to be a heavy thing there. So we'll see.
Again, we also could be measuring based off of an outdated meta, right? Like maybe they come in, they're playing something completely different. Maybe Soul's punchiness with their, well, I don't think you can take away their punchiness, but maybe their hog style's gone. It's really kind of up in the air. I don't think it's all going to completely go away, but I wouldn't be surprised to see like a new pick come in that we hadn't seen, 4 weeks previous. Is there a team that might not be able to play that pick? If there was, it'd probably be Seoul. I don't see a team like Shanghai missing any beats when it comes to like the demands of a metagame. They have literally one of the most talent stacked rosters in the league. I think it should be fine. I just am shocked that this match is not closer.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked Philly closing out the second seed against the Justice. Very convincing. Showed a very measured approach. Granted, with that much tape, you'd kind of assume that they would. Yeah, I'm a little concerned with Shanghai. Not a lot. I'm nitpicking. I have to admit that, but wasn't super convinced with their play to close it out. They obviously did, but not the cleanest.
You know what's really interesting to me?
What's that?
All of these teams have 10 or more players.
Yep.
11, I think, all of them. Like, I think Shock are the only one without 11, and if you count for, like, the sudden departure of...
Eject, Sinatra.
Like...
I mean, they also got people in because he went 2, 4, 6, 8, and tried, yeah.
Bigger rosters.
Yeah.
It's tough to go lean, especially with hero pools, huh?
Yes.
Yep.
was already a season that I think lean rosters were going to get punished, and we still got, I think teams still got punished for building lean. So we'll have to see what 2021 looks like on that regard. But
yeah.
So who do we have winning these games? Like, who do we think wins San Francisco, Seoul? Did we kind of go over like our picks? Who are we putting our money on?
I'm going Shanghai. Sorry, if San Francisco.
Yeah, I'm
Sorry,
going
what do we say?
shock Shanghai for sure.
Okay.
Shock
So
Shanghai,
starting
and
from
then
the top. Yeah.
Shanghai wins.
Okay.
So they are in the winner bracket finals.
Yeah.
No, champion. No,
winners
actually,
bracket. They represent the winners bracket in the grand finals.
right.
And then we have Seoul and Philly.
Yeah, Seoul and Philly.
Philly wins.
I don't know.
Don't think.
I don't know. Okay, so
That would be my.
I think
Really?
it's
If I was
likely.
going to make a controversial pick, I think that would be.
That would be it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So here's how the Seoul Philly matchup, if that ever happens, actually is in Seoul's favor. For instance, Seoul wins first match against Shock, then loses against Shanghai, then meets Philly somewhere in the bracket, then Seoul is favored against Philly.
Also, bear in mind that Fusion play at 6 a.m. and then I believe they play the next game. I have to double check these. Actually, let me double check these time. I believe it goes. Actually, maybe Eric can verify. Eric, how did the matches go on day 2? The 2, 4, and 6 a.m. matches? Who plays where? But the big thing is Philly also may have to go. They're going to have a quick turnaround no matter what, but they're going to have to go from playing Shanghai to.
Losers round 1 starts at 5 Eastern. Winners final starts at 7 Eastern. And then losers final is immediately after at 9.
So it's losers, winners, losers final.
Yeah. Losers round 1, winners final, losers final.
So they go from 6 a.m. to playing again at 2 a.m. So assuming that they wrap up at 8:30 a.m.
Yeah.
They're playing in
a few hours against a new team.
Against a new team.
Yeah, which is not
ideal.
Not ideal. Nope. But that's what we signed up for. I don't know. It's unfortunate.
I don't mind that. Like, this is just how it's got to be. Like, it's not amazing, but like, let's not.
I can't really
like be absolute competitive integrity zealots and like say this is unworkable. Like, the one thing that I'm a little bit concerned about is like, I'm not sure if he was memeing, but like Poco's post quarantine practice setup also didn't look that cash, to be honest. Like, I don't know. I hope they actually have better practice environments than displayed. But like, should I send it to you real quick? Like, this got to be meme, right?
Let's see the meme.
Like, that's
I mean, I don't think it's that like out of the realm of possibility.
Is he lying? Like, is he in Superman planking position playing this?
I mean, I'm sure the exact setup isn't correct based on like where he and how he's sitting, but I think like the setup itself doesn't surprise me.
Well, something is off because he's got a laptop. He's literally sitting on a
laptop
desktop.
box.
No, that's not a laptop, but that's a desktop box. It's an Omen X.
Yeah.
It's the laptop. Then there's another laptop that looks like a Predator laptop on the desk.
There's no way there's no chair in this room.
Unless maybe the Omen X is actually the monitor. Maybe it actually might be a monitor.
No idea.
Yeah.
Hard to say. But yeah,
it's a 25-inch display. So yeah, they're running off of an Alienware laptop
Yep.
That's not what we want.
It's tough to kind of build a battle station in COVID.
Sorry,
when you
Chad, I know
fly to a new
guys
country.
Can't see that whole thing, but
Stuff. So I don't think it's that much of a meme. I think it's that crazy. But yeah.
he also sits
think
really
really-
far away if you can't use that desk behind there. Like, I don't know why you can't use the desk. That's right there. Anyways,
I'm still kind of, I don't, Billy Soul, maybe we're selling Soul short still. I don't know. It's tough for me to kind of expunge the entire regular season. But maybe you have to. Maybe the meta is that different. Maybe Soul's that good in this meta. Definitely could be. It'd be kind of a sad exit. A sad finish to the season. The team that gets so close every time, has all these good players, is built for success, and then goes out losers round 1 to Soul. That does not feel good. That does not feel good at all.
but
You're kind of selling me. I don't think it'll happen, but I'm slowly bumping up that percentage.
there's
It's getting closer.
yeah, there's a lot of the intangibles there, right? Okay, so let's keep moving through.
Oh.
So losers. So was that the losers between Philly and Seoul? So
Yeah,
we go
just kinda talking about
so
that.
losers winner final. We have Shock versus Seoul
In losers final.
in losers final. Wait. Sorry. Shanghai versus Shock. Joe, do Shock
Yes.
beat Shanghai?
I think so. I would say so. I don't really see Shock seeing that much difficulty with this. I don't think we're in for a particularly good final. No matter, unless Seoul really comes out, does the double upset, which would be insane, and really can challenge Shock with some weird stuff that they've got planned. It's tough for me to look at the team that refined the best in 2019, has the best coaching staff, has arguably the best starting roster, has the depth that they have. I can't bet against that. That's a recipe for success. I really don't see them faltering now of all times. I don't think Shanghai. I think Shanghai's a good team. Don't get me wrong. I think the one thing that stands out is that final performance in Asia to close it out was not as clean as I wanted. Shock, on the other hand, was. Shock, on the other hand, is a proven successful team when it comes to refining metas over X amount of time. They need some time. They've been given time. They've been given ample time to figure this stuff out. I trust that this team's going to come in the best possible look, some of the best talented, most talented players, some of the best coaching staff. It's tough for me not to put a severe and strong vote of confidence in San Francisco becoming the repeat champions without much competition.
Without much competition, really.
Yeah, I've kind of got the final. If final's gonna be best of 7, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've got it like best of 7's what? First to 5, right? Am I doing the math right?
So
Best of 7 is first to
First to 4 or 5?
4.
First to 4. I've got it like 4-2. Like, I think Shanghai is good enough for maps, but I don't think it's going to be close.
Just saying, like, I need to be somewhere on Saturday, and if you can make it like quick, would suck. Like, I appreciate it either way.
So yeah, I don't see Shock. I know that I'm in the minority there. I hear everybody with the Shanghai, and
I don't
but
like.
I
just don't have the guts to say that. To the same thing with the Shock is like, for any of the falters that Shanghai has had, like, I don't think that. I feel just as unreasonable expecting them to not perform
Yeah, I think
well.
it's
it's
all nitpicks.
It's just it's kind of like, am I feeling saucy or not? Basically, it's kind of what it comes down to.
I want it to be close. There's nothing more that I hope for this weekend than a 4-3 grand final with either team taking it. I really don't care. If we had a 4-3, I think that would save the entire season. Either way, you have the New Bloods and the Shanghai Dragons coming in, almost sweeping nearly all the awards, almost sweeping their entire division all season long. Or you have the Shock, 2-time Overwatch League champions, possibly a 2-time MVP, a new candidate for the GOAT, a
non-coach
pillar
of the year 2020.
Sure. Again, cementing Krusty's legacy. Like, you can't take that away from him at that point. Like, either way, we're getting a banger. Hopefully. I hope. Knock on wood. We've been due for a good final, like a sit-down slobber knocker, all the adjectives from Joe Sports Ball. You throw them in there. We need it. We deserve it. And that's not something that we have to ask of the players. Of course, they want, good matches and competitive, and they want to win, obviously. But it would save this season immensely to see a 4-3 either way. Shanghai Shock, and we call it a day. We call it a season after that. You can't write a better one. You can't write a better final.
Yep. Great.
Long-term narratives.
So let's for a second, as we close out the show here, your 2020 season champion, Joe, who is it?
The San Francisco Shock.
All right. Yiska, who is it for you?
Shanghai Dragons.
All right. Well, you're both wrong. It's the Seoul Dynasty.
There's Tiger King.
The losing bracket. Let's go, baby.
How do we say this and then have Christopher as like the most frequent guest on our show? How do we also never talk about KDG? Like, is this like some Mandela effect where we like forgot what the Philadelphia Fusion is this entire episode? Dude, like, the problem is, like, they will perform well. It will be all sweet, but the confidence to win, that will also be a super sick storyline, by the way, if they finally win it. Yep. Especially if like Carpe has like an MVP for funds. I'm here for it. Like, I don't want to have a grand finals episode not talking about the Philadelphia Fusion, right?
Yep.
Like, they deserve it as well.
100%.
Let's talk about, if you could have any of these 4 teams win, who do you want to see? Not who do you think, but who do you want to see win?
I'd want to see Philly win.
Yiska?
Not because Christopher's been on. It's just like they're due for one. They need one. Carpe needs one. Alarm deserves it. Fury could go 2 times. That's another fun little narrative. There's going to be a 2-time winner for sure, guaranteed. No matter who wins.
Yeah, I think I want Shock to win.
Yeah, I want Shock to win too, but it's going to be Seoul. So, chat, thanks so much for hanging out today. Hope you had a ton of fun. It was a pretty rowdy episode, like we said, nice and long, but we got through it together, and we will see you. I don't know, Joe, are you planning on waking up for the matches live?
Yep, I'll be up.
I don't know if I'm gonna hit the 2 a.m. ones, but I'm for sure gonna hit the 4 a.m. and 6 a.m. ones. By for sure, I mean like 65%. My Overwatch prediction for sure. Yeah, like 62 to 65%. But big thank you to everybody who hung out today. Big thanks to the new subs. Chris R34444, thank you for gifting 2 subs to Nanatorium and Thomas96. Fire Element, welcome back. Overpowered Ginger, Coppers, Moirai, and Peace Camper OW. Welcome back. Thank you. If you like the show, sub here. You're the best. You're so smart. Sub twitch.tv/Kickedtripod, or to go to patreon.com patreon.com/tactical crouch. Big thanks to our patron producers, Refine Bean, Ferdino Pin, Battlecrab, Kuchikopi, Lotion, Rex Zane, Audio Compass, Kasha67, Shar, Nathan, Your Misery, Hunter Tane, Fabled Steven, Roger B, Owen, Chris R34444, Horbjorn, and I listen to this podcast whilst on the toilet and in the shower thinking of Yiska, and Peace Camper. If you like the show, please go to patreon.com/tactical crouch and consider supporting. 80 about helps. You don't have to give a ton of money. A little bit here and there is just a great way to say, hey, I really like the show. Thanks for making it. I really appreciate it. Upgrade some of your equipment on me, basically. So big thank you to anybody who's done that. And if you like the show and want to support, go to, and you don't want to spend money on it, go to iTunes, leave a 5-star iTunes review. We'd really appreciate it. Individual shout outs for the week. Yiska, shout outs. Where can people find you?
As always at GG Recon, like we sort of upped our output and our coordination, and in my humble opinion, also our quality of content for running up to the finals week. I wrote an article today about the GOAT race happening. I think like it's time that we can discuss it. I also don't know, like we also got to consider the longevity of esports games in general. So the discussion needs to be had while it's still relevant. And while we won't have a definitive name, likely, it's still like something to keep track of. Otherwise, like we all did our predictions with all the GG Recon Overwatch writers. Also, of course, check out Joe's 2 sweet feature pieces. We have a feature for each team ready for you to consume. Yeah.
Great. Joe, what about you? Shout outs for the week. Where can people find you?
Yep. Can't really say too much else. Echoing a lot of the same things that Yiska said. You know, definitely check out all the cool stuff we got out going on GG Recon. Brought about, I think, Seoul and Philly this week, and then previous to that had some individual kind of narratives so I wanted to tie up for the season. And yeah, just on the socials everywhere. You'll find me if you want.
Cool. As for me, you can find me everywhere at Kickedtripod and YouTube at youtube.com/KickedtripodYT. To find the show, search for Tactical Crouch anywhere or on YouTube at youtube.com/Tactical Crouch. We're almost to 4,000 subs. Help us get us there, please. We'd love to be there. Other than that, I hope you guys have a great one. We will see you on Friday for Spike Drop and Monday to recap the finals. Come hang out with us, by the way. Watch parties in Discord the next 3 days. Discord.me/Yiska out. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye.